Okay, and joining me now is Anthony Bourdain, author of Kitchen Confidential. And oh, by the way, Todd, he said you were boiling that stock too hard.
Actually, I can't disagree with anything he said. And I wonder if he's read the book because...
he reads through it, he told me.
Yeah.
I had the book with me, but he hadn't read every word of it, but he
Yeah.
said he read some of the excerpts and things.
Because I have to say, just about all the reaction I've had from chefs and cooks has been extraordinarily positive in that this was written as a sort of overly frank, perhaps, Valentine to a business that I've been in for 28 years and love. And I think a lot of chefs and cooks have been gratified to hear someone talking about the business in a completely honest way, in a language that's entirely familiar to them.
And I think, I think a lot of people have suspicions about how the restaurant business works, as they do about other things. I mean, the food comes out, it looks beautiful, and it's all prepared, but you wonder, if some guy isn't wiping his brow into this stuff, and that, I mean, it doesn't happen every day in every restaurant, but as you point out in the book, it happens.
I really wasn't looking to terrify the dining public. I'd written this really as an entertainment for people in the business primarily. I wanted the reader to have the same sort of reaction I had when I read Orwell for the first time, in the sense that I'm not alone. Others have come before me who've been through this sort of nonsense.
What happened with the whole celebrity chef movement? Where did that come from? And now it's everywhere. We have a lot of them in Boston, too.
There are a number of interesting theories. One of them is that these are sexually repressive and conservative times, and that chefs are sort of non-threatening, TV chefs in particular anyway, certainly not me, non-threatening, cuddly figures.
Some of them are very sexy, too, I should say.
Yeah, but it's about food rather than, the other thing. So, that would be one theory. I don't know. I guess I'm happy about it. I mean, even my fry cook has a publicist now,
Yeah. I got a big kick out of a couple things you said. Your intolerance of vegetarians, people who put sauces on the side, and things like lactose intolerance. I said, frankly, I'm lactose intolerant myself. But so what? How can you go out to a restaurant and say, can I have the sauce on the side? And I have to say, the women are the worst. But you pick it up from there.
Well, as I say in the book, and again, it's written from the point of view of it's a chef talking. It's not Jean-Louis Paladin. I'm not David Bouley. It's a journeyman chef talking at 10:30 at night with the same sort of poisonous, paranoid worldview as I think many of my comrades would have after a busy Saturday night. So yeah, we get a little cranky about sauce on ciders and things like that. And vegetarians are irritating, of course, because the first thing most of us do is put veal stock on.
Sure,
it's the basis of what we do and what we love, and it's the magic of cooking for a lot of us who have been classically trained. Is it's all about meat and organs and stinky cheese.
Well, speaking of meat, Todd was telling me that his accountants are always wild at him because he changes who he buys from every day, and he says he does get fresh fish every day. He does get fresh meats. You theorize, or you say that oftentimes restaurants wait 3, 4, 5, maybe they get fish twice a week. Is it always the case, though, that something, just because it's been hanging around for 4 days, doesn't mean it's going to be bad?
Many restaurants, well, for instance, in New York, the fish market is closed Saturday, Sunday. And most restaurants who get from regular fish purveyors, on Sunday, the fish is 2 days old. On Monday, it's even a little older if they're unloading what's left over from the weekend. Guys at the level of Todd English, 3, 4-star chefs, oftentimes have direct suppliers who will, ship them small amounts of stuff right off the docks. So, this is not always true.
And don't most good restaurants, have the ability to keep that fish fresh? I mean, I read The Perfect Storm. I couldn't believe how sometimes
long the swordfish,
3 months. 3 months that swordfish is on the boat. Yeah. People don't know that. So what's another week?
That scared me too. I read the same book. Yeah, of course it's held well. I mean, no one's poisoning anyone hopefully on Mondays. And again, I was maybe looking to goose the civilian population a little bit, but I think I was writing about this stuff to to make the atmosphere a little more authentic for those of us in the business.
And the same thing with the meat cooked well done. People often get the butt in, but they get what they deserve. I remember my sister worked in a restaurant. She said that when somebody wanted it well done, he used to run it under hot water and turn it gray. I mean, that was a true story.
Well, it's many chefs sensibly assume that someone who orders their meat well done is less likely to notice the tougher piece of meat. And
it's like ordering a fine liquor with Coke in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but of course, if you go to a place that's famous for steak, that's doing tremendous volume, they're turning over their stuff so quickly. There is no nasty piece of meat. They're moving everything as quickly as they get it in the door, so that wouldn't be a factor. But that does go on. We certainly know the phrase, many of us in the business, like the 3-second rule. That's a common phrase. We may not practice the 3-second rule where you drop something on the ground. As long as you pick it up within 3 seconds, it's good to go. But, you know, we all know what it is.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to pick on something that is a big bone of contention with me, and that is pretentious menus. In fact, I got a copy of your menu from your restaurant in New York, and it has plenty of pretentiousness there. I mean, why put it in French and English? I mean, let's just start there.
It's a very old school, you know, French menu, hooves and snouts, working class, you know, authentic brasserie bistro food, French owner, French manager, a lot of French people as clientele.
All right, why put
yeah,
it in English?
Yeah, I appreciate that myself. Mea culpa.
And the writing, the descriptions of the food, that's an art in itself.
We don't need what crunchy garden lettuce, you know, seasonal field green. Yeah, well, it's irritating, you know, isn't it? Yeah. It's showbiz. There is an element of showbiz to what we do. You know.
Yeah. Another thing that Todd was telling me was about the help. He said sometimes people only stay as an assistant or a sous chef or one of the chefs or something for, you know, 3 weeks or 3 months. And he said also, I wanted to ask you about this, just the success of a restaurant business, because there's a young woman here who got $2 million from an entrepreneur, just fell into her lap. She was a bartender at the Federalist, and he's given her this money to open her own restaurant down near Mistral. I mean, that's not necessarily, just the money isn't going to necessarily be the ticket to success.
Well, I'd take it to the track, stand a better chance of getting a good return on that money, I think. It's very, very tough business. Very hard with a tremendous failure rate.
And the main reason being?
Capricious public. I don't think most people who go into the restaurant business have any idea of how demanding it is, what kind of total 24-hour commitment it is, and all of the things that can go wrong that you don't anticipate.